Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Cool Stuff with Poor Lighting. This is just some new stuff that I wanted to go over real quick. And there's stuff here, and there's stuff that's not here. It's on its way here. So we'll go over that soon. First thing is a full brick. It's a new brick of Signum 3s. And that's pretty cool. A lot of people are interested, and this like represents people wanting the board, and that's really cool. Really humbling. Thank you. This is new. This is I've been calling it project name Implico, but there's probably a better name for it. This is a what's this? Boy. Well, why'd you put a tear tab on there if you're not gonna let me tear? There we go. Implico. Either that or Handwire Helper. I'm not quite sure. Handwire Helper sounds like a lot more fun. So these are little thingies to help you handwire. Vertical boards. So anything that's ortholinear, you can set. Oh, look at that. Nice. So all of these are your rows going across for this switch set, and you can match that with another switch. And when you solder this bridge across here, you will focus. When you solder this bridge across here, you'll be able to connect. This switch will be connected to this switch on the row. And that way you'll be able to solder over here straight to your microcontroller. And you won't have to like solder here and here and here and solder between the switches. And of course, you've got your hole for your diode there. So you're all set. And then this guy sitting over here is your column. And it's the same column all the way down, so you can solder at any point on there. So it's made to eliminate hand wiring difficulties on any of these vertical boards. But it also, by our powers combined, adjust for quarter U settings. So yes, you can do this, and yes, you can make, an ortholinear board out of this. But you can also that, as long as you solder the bridges across for the same spot, you still make the same connection. You can even go like this if you want. As long as you solder the bridges across, you've got your same connection on this side, so you don't have to run wires all over it. And that's pretty neat. This has 5 of them. I haven't figured out the V scoring or how that's going to work out, but I would like it so that you could snap off, this bottom one in case you wanted just 4. But this will give you not everything, but a lot of what you'd need. I mean, you would be running a Prionic pretty much with something like this, and then you would get one Teensy or one Pro Micro or whatever, and then just run the wires to it. So that's pretty cool, I think. That also means that interesting boards, weird project boards, if you didn't have a PCB for something like this, then you would not be able to focus, please, pretty please, sugar on top. Oh boy. See, then you could just set these up and then run something like this, and then get your vertical adjustments by sliding these up and down when you solder them together. So that is pretty cool, I think. Yeah. That's cool. These are little toggle switches that are case mounted. Whatever will these be used for? Something fun and retro. This is something I picked up when I was having a lot of pain, and I think this is going to be. I'm going to have to put this together and try this out. It's definitely gotten better, but if this is better, then I will do this. The ergonomics affect, especially the RSI, it affects people differently. So some people don't have a problem with this, and other people do have a problem with this, and some people have problems with neither, and they have problems with something else completely different. But you do what you can. So I'll be putting this together and see how this works out. Pretty neat. This is a dactyl light cycle, and I purchased from someone who didn't really get around to building it, so that's pretty cool. And that seems like it's it for what we've got here, but wait, there's more on the way. This guy. So this is a Raspberry Pi W0 hat. And this is the, there, see, fits right on top of that guy. This is something that I've been working on. I've posted a picture of it on the website. I got that here. What's that? Oh, what is my website again? Yes. So this is something that I've been kind of working on. It would have a screen, battery pack, and sit on a Raspberry Pi. The idea is that it would have some kind of syncing system that would need to be set up. That's just a quick test, function test. Good old Frank the cat. I think his name was Frank. I don't remember, but he has an OLED finally. Yeah. So something like this that will be put together using this guy, this Pi hat, and that'll give me a good opportunity to really test this out as a pocket device. It's going to be a reminder system that you would hold in your hand, and then it would beep at you and it would annoy you, and whenever it got Wi-Fi connectivity it would sync. And the idea is that it would have very minimal inputs, so you would basically just carry it around with you in your pocket, and you can keep it charged pretty easily with the charging circuit built in there with a micro USB, and then it would annoy you with reminders of things you have to do today, and there would be a little jog dial button here for making menu selections, and then click buttons here for making your selections. Like I said, I called it the Annoyotron 5000, but I think it's gonna wind up being a lot more because I wanted to do it with an Arduino, but there were too many features. So that was the way to go with that. The other thing that's on its way is this lovely item. What could this possibly be used for? Just what in the name of keyboarding could this be used for, this analog joystick? Yep, you guessed it. It's going to be coupled with one of these guys, and we're going to make a little mouse module, and we're going to see about adding that, incorporating that into one of these designs. Frankly, it'll probably wind up on this thing first, maybe in one of these slots, and see what's reachable and accessible, or maybe down here. Who knows? This is how I advance things. I just keep trying weird stuff, and if it doesn't work, I move on. So yeah, we'll be incorporating a mouse module and confirming that works quite well. And since that's a basic Pro Micro, that is going to be something that's going to go into Signum Dev. So Signum Dev is going to wind up with a bunch of stuff built into it. But one of those things will be a mouse controller, probably down here somewhere, that joystick. The joystick is going to be, I'm expecting the joystick to mostly be a software problem, which means you're going to be trying to match the feel of a mouse with the joystick, but again, that's just software. So you can patch it later, or we'll do it in post, that kind of thing. So the idea is that you would be able to type and then adjust here with that joystick, and then the OLED would go somewhere. So it would probably be a Pro Micro running the circuit, running the keyboard, and then a separate one mounted beneath, rather than the Nano that I've got here. Be something underneath another Pro Micro, and that would be running the additional devices. So you would program that separately, but it would draw power from the same keyboard. So when you plugged in, it would be, I'm not going to say Bluetooth yet. When you plug it in, you'll get all those features. I think that's it. Oh yeah, a couple of these will also be dedicated toward seeing if I can make this a proper split. I've been doing interesting things with splitting these boards, and you know, this monstrosity. Just it's I'm trying to figure out some better split solutions, things that are angle-able and tent-able. So making progress there, I think, and was really happy with something else. There was another design. Hang on. All right. Yeah. This actually is the Bluetooth module. That was something I was thinking about for the Signum Dev. And it would have USB sitting on top of it in this little corner here, and then you would have the option of sliding in this USB Bluetooth adapter, and the cable would be set such that it came out the top, wrapped around in cable channels, and then fit into this USB slot again in the corner, so that it would be, you know, captive cable. But after, if you wanted to put it in the USB feature, you would unplug it from there, plug in this USB adapter from Handheld Science, and then plug right into the back of this, and you have Bluetooth with your wires in the wired channels. There's also other stuff here about, you know, track points and joysticks. This was when I was just trying to figure this out. This is the other idea, is the halves have different mount points on header pins. And then, oh, the flapper, yeah. Forgot about the flap. This is not plugged in. Okay, so wasn't really ready for the flapper here, but I don't even think this box has OSCAT on it. But I do have, let's see. I'm syncing. Well, I will be syncing. Come on, Dropbox. There we go. So this was on my, posted it on the Reddits. You're not even looking at the screen because I didn't put it up for you. I apologize. There we go. And there we go. So this is turned slightly sideways, but well, let me turn it around then. So the first thought is, oh wow, it looks like the dragon from Adventure, I'm sure. But imagine there's a, okay, so this is the bottom. There we go. Ah, there we go. Okay, come on. Nope, still the bottom, still the bottom. Oh boy. Okay, well, imagine that this side is the bottom. This is a flipper paddle. So it's designed so that it will, this will obviously hinge through this mount. These holes are spaced for Cherry MX switches, and you'll put a little 6mm push button right here, and then this paddle will stick up next to your thumb key. So this position, the switch position, would be occupied by that paddle, and then it has a little lever on it that will tilt, and when it tilts down, it'll push on the button. It'll be sitting on this base right here. This base. So here's the paddle that your thumb hits. You push on it like this, and again, this is laying on its side, but you'll once it's mounted into this position, you'll be able to have a little paddle that will stick straight up, and you'll just push down with your thumb, and then you'll lean right or lean left, and you'll hit that paddle, and it should have a very low angle of actuation, so it should be pretty minimal force. What am I saying? I've got this on Reddit, actually. That's literally exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, this. That. So, that's pretty cool. So you can see a little bit better that there would be a switch kind of sitting in this position, and then this paddle would be over top of that switch, and then your thumb would push in this direction on the opposite side of this paddle. The idea is to make it so that you don't have to, you know, my Signum has 3 thumb switches, and I am finding myself getting lost on them. And frequently, I go back to my thumb switches, and these are my standard thumb switches. These are very comfortable, and no matter where I am when I come back to the thumb switches here, I'm always on the right ones. But on the Signum 3, I've modified this slightly. I've drawn them over a little bit more to the inside in order to fit that additional key in here. And by doing so, I've thrown myself off a little bit. So I'm trying to think of what would get me homing back in on this thumb key as best as possible. And I've tried different height keys and different things like that, different tricks. That's why my Signum didn't have any buttons on the inside keys for a while, because I didn't use them so much. So I would just press on the stem of the key. It was exposed like this, and that way when I was feeling for those keys, I didn't run into that first key. Like the stem was you could definitely tell you're touching a stem. So I wanted to get rid of that. I wanted to make it easier to home in on these keys and make it easier to know that you're pressing that key, pressing the key to the right, pressing the key to the left. What would have been ideal is a toggle switch of some kind that kind of cradled your thumb, so that when you came in, you could push down and select, or tilt left or tilt right. I wasn't able to find anything mechanical that would be able to do that was also tactile, so I had to design that thing. I used OpenSCAD, which was always fun to get into OpenSCAD. It's pretty obvious, so it's not too big of a deal. But yeah, that was yesterday. I kind of hacked that together and was like, okay, print on Shapeways. So that's my first time printing anything on Shapeways like that. So we'll see how it comes out. There we go. Let's make sure I don't have any chats. Good. That's all I really had. I just want to go over some of the new stuff and tease some of the even newer stuff. So I'll talk to you all later. See how interesting this stuff is to you all.